Hey everybody, this is Atesh and I'm back with a quick supplemental video. In the last video, the first episode of Making Modern Metal Production Essentials, we got to talk a lot about guitars, but we didn't really have a chance to talk about what else is happening in the project, like the bass or drums. If you haven't seen that video, you can click the link above and watch it and come back to this video. So let's just dive right into it. Here's the project. There isn't much going on in here in terms of instrumentation. Some rhythm guitars, bass, and drums. Later on joins the cleanish guitars. And I don't intend this to be a full-on tutorial. Just wanted to show you roughly what's happening. Just bear in mind that I have all the plugins on the master bus turned on. Let's start with the bass from the start. I tried the plugins I have, but I did not like the results I was getting. So I sent my DI track to a friend who put it through the Parallax plugin by the Neural DSP. Let's see first the DI track. Here's the processed version. Let's see what I'm doing on the channel. I have an instance of the Infinity EQ by Slate Digital. I'm carving some space for other instruments, boosting some frequencies, cutting one frequency that I think is a bit harsh, and high pass and low pass filters. After that, I have an instance of the virtual mix rack by, again, Slate Digital. And I have the virtual channel on it, in which I'm attenuating the input level, followed by the FG stress compressor, and even more top boost from the Revival. Next is the drums, which has the most processing on. Again, I don't intend this to be a mixing tutorial, so I won't show separate elements, but just wanted to show you what kind of a difference that makes. Let's hear them with the processing on. I'm using the Getgood drums P4 kit with the default kit pieces, but none of the snares in this kit sounded right for this tune in my opinion. So I'm using the P3 low snare from the first Matt Halpern signature pack as my main snare. I added an instance of it, copied the snare MIDI over, and turned off the rooms and the overheads. I still have the snare from the P4 kit, but very low in the mix. Here's how it sounds without any processing on them, except for the plugins on the master bus. And again with the processing on. Moving on to the guitars. We talked a lot about guitars in the last video, but that was more about double tracking. Here I'm doing some more, well, you can say mix related moves. Here, let's have a quick look. This is after the processing. And everything on the channel bypassed. What I have on the channel is some multiband compressor for palm mutings and an instance of the Infinity EQ for high pass and low pass filters, and I'm making some room for snare. And I have a second EQ after that, which I'm thinning them out a bit more so that it sits in the mix better and leaves some space for the bass guitar in the low end. And I'm adding just a bit high end. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the cleanish guitars. I'm using the Fortin Cali plugin for these as well, and I'm using the creepy breakup preset by Getgood again. But there are no effects inside Fortin Cali, so I am using this repeater delay and a verb suite from Slate Bundle. After that, I have an instance of the Infinity EQ again, and some compression using the smash and grab from Getgood drums. These guitars are double tracked and they sound like this in the mix. One thing I'm doing here is some automation. I turn down the rhythm guitars once this part starts, so it gives a little room to these cleanish guitars. And also this section is more of a verse than a chorus, so I don't want it sounding super big. I'm also doing the same thing for the drum room track. Let's hear how the automation works. And finally, let's hear the whole mix. Alright, this is it for this quick episode. I also wanted to thank each and every one of you. It's awesome to see this series is helping so many of you. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section. Thank you all. Until next time.